supporters, organizers, staffers, people who've been canvassing, phone banking, text banking. You can hear their cheers and chants. Matthew, so nice to meet you. What did you think about the debate?
I was really surprised at how raw everyone was getting in the very beginning and throughout different parts of the debate. Yeah, I was really surprised that, for instance, Warren went straight for Bloomberg's jugular with like what might have been like a prepared point, but was still pretty brave and slightly risky.
Yeah, there were some really go-getter moments from Warren tonight for sure.
Yeah.
And this audience seemed to enjoy that, especially when you're going against a Bloomberg. What did you think about Bloomberg's performance?
I don't know. I didn't really think too much about it. It's whatever. Yeah. I don't think there's much to say about him, so yeah.
Yeah, so you're discounting him. He's rising in the polls, but I've heard a lot of people saying, well, this is going to tank him now.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing well in the polls, but in the debate, he didn't do very well. He didn't have the data and the staff and the ads to really support him. He was all by himself, so by himself, there's not really much there, you know? So.
Well, and people are saying it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. So he had all this money to create these great advertisements. Well, great is a relative term. I actually would not say they're great. He had money to create some ads, and he got a wide spread. He has a huge staff working for him. In fact, local candidates are having a hard time hiring people in certain areas because Bloomberg's hired them all. So he has money, but he doesn't seem to have charisma, and so that wizard has been shown behind the curtain.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing like the first oligarchic president run, and we're seeing a lot of people that are undecided and maybe low information voters become swayed, really sticking it to the Biden and other moderate supporters base, really sweeping that up. But the danger does lie that a lot of those undecided voters will be part of Bernie's followers and supporters. He could end up taking from Bernie's base as well. When you see somebody rising in the polls by 15% over 1 month, it should be of concern to anyone that thinks that democracy should prevail and that basically the popular vote should be the main reason why people win. But what we're seeing right now is this new level of ad spend that no one can really compete with, and therefore should puts democracy in question. So.
Yeah, and I think Bernie definitely agrees with that. People in this room seem to agree with that. What about you? What do you do? What's your role? Do you volunteer for the campaign? Do you work for the campaign? Are you just a supporter?
I can't comment on that. But I did found an organization called the Future Left, and we put out a progressive voters guide in LA, and we're hosting an event tomorrow here in Las Vegas with How to Dress Well and 2 special guests from people associated with the campaign. So.
What do you expect out of the caucus? A lot of people are concerned because of what we saw out of Iowa. Do you have any concerns about Nevada?
I have concerns about caucuses in general. I think that caucuses are a form of voter suppression, and when you see that over time people have pushed to both remove the caucuses and also the power of the superdelegates, we see that there's a major shift in the way that the people of the United States are viewing elections, and I think over time we'll see the caucuses go away, and we'll also see that we'll look back on this time and we'll see that it was a very troubled time for the people of Nevada and the people of Iowa and the 5 other states that still have caucuses.
I was actually, earlier I mentioned on this live stream that I had read quotes by Harry Reid saying that he essentially wants Nevada to be first in the nation. How do you think that would change the game?
I agree with Harry Reid's comment that we should have a state that represents the country a little bit more. You see in Nevada that we have, I think it's around 25% to 35% people of color in the state, and around around 55 or so percent people that are white, meaning that there's more of a mix. Whereas New Hampshire and Iowa do really well for people that have a very narrow demographic like Buttigieg and Klobuchar, but it doesn't represent the country. It sends the wrong message that white voters have the most say in the elections, and that's something that needs to go away. I don't think that Nevada as a caucus is the answer, and if Harry Reid is insinuating that, he should change his position on that and say that maybe Nevada should be the first in the country as a primary, not as a caucus.
Anything you want to leave the audience with? Any more thoughts?
Make sure to go canvass, phone bank, text, do everything you can for Bernie. We're running out of time. Donate if you can. We are going to look back on this time, and everyone that's done something for the campaign is going to feel really, they're going to feel the joy of winning and beating somebody like Donald Trump, beating someone like Michael Bloomberg, and you'll be a part of that. So do that right now or as soon as you can. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. It's great. What's your name?
My name is Sean Navarro. I'm the co-chair of Las Vegas DSA out here. Our two other co-chairs recently left. They're both moving. One's moving to Reno, one's moving to Seattle. So I'm kind of like the regional manager of socialism, if you will, being the so-called here now.
Is that a Dwight Schrute reference?
Yes, absolutely.
Office fans, you know.
Yeah, 100%, yes.
What did you think of the debate tonight?
I thought it was great. I'm really glad that they're starting to kind of go after each other a little bit. I think politics is about kind of like a baseline definition is about who gets what when. And I feel like it's been a little too nice. We're talking about some serious issues here. There's some serious contrast between candidates. It's time now we start to get into it. So I was kind of glad to see them kind of go after each other a little bit. I feel like if you follow history at all, what happened in 1960, 1980, even 1992, is much more much more intense than we see here. Kind of in the recent history, we see it become more tame. And people say, well, we don't want to weaken up for the Republican, but a Republican is going to dig this up anyway. So I'm glad to see them start to go after each other a little bit.
Well, so you bring up a good point. We have Donald Trump who's not going to go, he's not going to be treading lightly. So we need a candidate who can go up against Trump. Who do you think that candidate is? I think it's obvious who you always say.
My boy Tio Bernie, 100%. It's so great you see Trump talk about Bernie. He has nothing. His whole argument is the Democrats are just like effete liberals, no connection to like real working people. And with Bernie, that just doesn't work at all. He's not fake. Like he says, I don't handle BS very well. I think he has literally no argument against Bernie. I think you call him Crazy Bernie, like that's weak. That's good, yeah. I think someone like a Mayor Pete, like a Bloomberg, he would just destroy. Elizabeth Warren, I think that they're kind of made to lose to Trump, and I think Bernie he has nothing for.
A lot of people were saying that Elizabeth Warren tonight came out harder against her opponents than she has in the past. What did you think of her performance?
I thought it was okay. I'm kind of a little disappointed with Elizabeth Warren. I was a big fan of her in the past. I think she does some great work. She's very intelligent. I love she has a great personal story. I was a little disappointed to see her kind of waffle Medicare for all. And I think that's kind of, ever since she kind of came out, basically not in favor of Medicare for all, you see her support dwindle. And I think she's kind of trying to recover from that, basically.
Yeah, and I think the media might try to give her a little bit of a bump, and that's what we saw with Bloomberg. So let's pivot to Bloomberg. Thoughts there?
I think Bloomberg is an absolute joke. Makes a sham of our democracy. No one should be able to come in and just buy a candidacy, basically. He was a Republican back in 2004, which is not that long ago. He literally spoke at the RNC convention. Why we're entertaining this man, I do know why, because of money. And I think it's ridiculous. It just shows you the influence of the 1%. The fact that a candidate could run a vanity campaign and just literally set $200, $300 million on fire. It shows you kind of the predicament we're in, and how there's just such an insane accumulation of wealth at the top that they could. He's just wasting $200 million. That's generational money. That's more money than my family or generation of my family will see. We'll work for 100 years and we won't make that. And he's just setting on fire for this vanity campaign.
Well, tell, some people worry, and I have to say I'm a little bit worried about this, less so than I was after seeing his performance tonight, but a little bit worried that it won't matter, that he can just buy the media coverage he needs to recover from this bad debate performance.
I disagree. I think more people see him. I think money has kind of become overrated in politics, especially when you're seeing with the Sanders campaign. If you have money go up against a real grassroots campaign, I think the grassroots is going to win. Like AOC has a great quote, they've got money, we've got people, and money is lonely. I think you see a lot of candidates, Jeb Bush, Joe Biden, these very well-funded candidates not do well at all, because when you have kind of this kind of tepid support with big donors going up against a real grassroots, real fired up base like we're seeing with Bernie, the grassroots is going to win.
So you said that you're a fan of Status Coup, right? Or you like what we're doing?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Can you tell people why they should join and become a member?
Join to become a member. This is real media. They're out here doing it. They're out here live talking to the people. Shout out to my man Marcus Ely. He's the best. Check them out. They're great. It's a completely independent, fierce voice in media. You need to support them. Go out, smash that like button, become a member, or whatever y'all need to do. Absolutely.
Exactly. Go to statuscoup.com/join. Good stuff. Anything you want to leave the audience with? Any last thoughts?
I think we're going to win. I think that when people come together, we cannot be defeated. Join your local DSA if you don't have one. Start one. If you're out there and you're kind of seeing what's happening, you feel alone. You're not alone. You're not even in the minority of thought. Even people that are kind of doing well, we're all kind of in the same boat. There's a real feeling that like things aren't really working for us, for regular people. If you have a job, you're worried about losing it. If you have insurance, you're worried about losing your insurance. I think there's a real sense that something's not right with capitalism, and come join a DSA or get involved in any sort of like local organization. I think together we can win. I think
One more question. What do you think about Bernie's chances on Saturday? Do you think he'll win?
Knock on wood, after 2016, I'll take anything for granted, but I think he's going to win. I think it's going to be a big win. And not just for Bernie, but for people of color, for Latino people. He has such a huge groundswell of support from Latino communities. I'm involved with Muslims for Bernie. And he's building a real coalition of people that politicians have forgotten about and don't usually speak about. So I think you're going to see that come together. It's been months of work, and I think on Saturday you're going to see it all come together.
Thank you so much. Good stuff.
Join Status Coup. Subscribe. They're great.
Thank you so much. Good stuff. Jen, what's your name?
Fiorella.
And you work with Tina, I take it?
Yeah, I have my show called The Convo Couch, and I also work with Tina. We're here together to cover the campaign.
The Convo Couch, of course. So I've seen you around Twitter.
Yes, I'm always there. I'm pretty vicious, so.
So nice to meet you in person. So, okay, what are your takeaways from the debate tonight?
Okay, so my takeaways are that the establishment doesn't really have any other cards right now. They really are getting old with the whole, how is Bernie going to pay for Medicare for all? Let's look at Bernie Sanders' medical record. They have nothing else to go from there. And with Bloomberg, everybody coalescing to attack him just kind of felt like it was planned in a way. It kind of felt like they were doing it to make themselves look good. But at the end of the day, when you notice at the very end of the debate, they asked if they would kind of rally behind the popular candidate, the candidate of the people, and they were all like iffy about it. And so to me, that tells me that they're willing to go to a contested convention, that they're going to do whatever it takes to stop Bernie Sanders from getting the nomination. And it wasn't any more clear ever as it has been today to me as to that this whole thing is basically billionaires like Bloomberg and then Buttigieg, who said he would take his money, but who also talks about transparency, yet as many people might know, he accepted $600,000 in ads for ads that were going to benefit him in Nevada through a super PAC, which is illegal. He has continuously spoken about black endorsements he doesn't have. Then there's the Shadow app in Iowa. The guy loves to talk about transparency, but yet he doesn't follow it. So to me, it just seems very clear this election is definitely like this and not like this. Okay, the election is top versus the 99%, not left versus right. And I think after today, Bloomberg has kind of outed himself as that guy that is so terrible that nobody is really, the way he talks about America, it's like he's talking about a corporation, which is what we are. But at the same time, if we're trying to change the system, we don't need somebody to wrangle another corporation again.
You kind of hinted along there at the possibility of a contested convention. What do you think might happen, and who do you think wants a contested convention?
I mean, I think all of them want a contested convention. If we're looking at the Stop Sanders movement that has been in play for over a year now, and even before that, you're looking at Buttigieg doing really well in Iowa, doing really well in New Hampshire, probably going to do well in Nevada, and then you're going to see people like Elizabeth Warren maybe take Massachusetts, maybe take some of the Midwest, and then you're going to see Joe Biden maybe pull enough delegates in the South. And then all of these people are going to have some delegates, and they're going to have enough delegates to combine them and go against Bernie Sanders. I think it's everybody against Bernie at this point. There was a point where I thought maybe Elizabeth Warren would have done something and would have kind of united with Bernie Sanders, but time and time again, she has attacked him in his supporters also in ways that, in my opinion, aren't fair. And so I genuinely feel like she's going to fall in line with the establishment. And Yang dropped out. Nobody else is really viable right now. I would have liked to see Tulsi Gabbard maybe be there and be a support, but I don't really see her being viable at this point necessarily. Maybe that'll change, but I really see right now this is a three-way race between Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg and Michael Bloomberg. Joe Biden's even on the down low. Elizabeth Warren is pretty much almost, to me, kind of flailing. But the few delegates they get, and this is why every delegate was so important in Iowa, really are going to matter when it comes down to the contested convention. And then, of course, if we bring in the super delegates. So,
yeah, of course. You mentioned the attacks on Bernie Sanders supporters, and disappointingly to a lot of people, Elizabeth Warren kind of fed into that. Not kind of, she did. She fed into that for sure. The media really, really fueled that. Does it matter? Does it seem to matter what Bernie Sanders supporters do, what Bernie Sanders does when it comes to the media?
No, it doesn't. I feel like genuinely Bernie Sanders has tried to be above the fray. He has taken the high road. But time and time again, no matter what he does or how good he is, they still attack him and his supporters. They still talk about the word socialism as if it's the plague. They still act like what he is doing is dividing the party when he continuously talks about voting for the nominee, to the very dismay of many of his supporters. And then they focus on very, very few of his supporters who might be angry, but they don't focus on why they're angry. And it's a form of gaslighting time and time again. And in my opinion, Bernie has almost in a way gone too much into caring about what these people think. I think if a lot of us want him to take a stronger stance and be like, look, you don't need to worry about those people, because at the end of the day, if they are any blue will do, they're going to vote for the Democrat. And if they're not, they're going to vote for a woman. If they're for Warren, they might go to Klobuchar. If they're for Klobuchar, they might go to Warren. But they're not necessarily, he doesn't gain much by kind of placating to them. He gains a lot more by looking at independence, looking at his own base, and kind of going from there. And so that's why I was glad that he actually, during the CNN town hall, spoke out against the Bernie bro narrative, where he did defend Nina Turner, he did defend Brianna Joy Gray, and he did defend a lot of the 99% of his supporters who are really there in good faith and who are pretty much gaslighted, and how no other campaign essentially really talks about holding their own supporters accountable. It's always on the Bernie Sanders supporters. So.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so we saw what happened in Iowa. What are your thoughts on what's coming on Saturday? Will the caucuses here in Nevada go okay, or are we up for some bad surprises?
I genuinely feel like we are up for some bad surprises, just based on the connections with Pete Buttigieg having with some of the Nevada party, with some of the connections he had relating to the super PACs here that were generating ads for him, and also with the way the Nevada Democratic Party has been in 2016 as well. We recall the whole chair scenario, and just the animosity, and also the three the three people they had to pick to vote, the ranked choice voting that a lot of the campaign didn't even know about, and it was kind of a last minute thing. And I just genuinely feel that we can't be too careful. Even if it goes well, we need to be prepared. We need to have every, well, speaking as a Bernie Sanders supporter, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, make sure that every precinct has a precinct captain. Make sure that there are tons of observers there to look. I was in Iowa, and I was in precinct 80 when Tina and I left after they were done. The lady waited till we left, then decided she was going to do a coin toss. Well, we got that delegate back because we told the campaign about it. We completely acted on it. But that's why we need journalists like yourself and also observers there to make sure that these caucuses go well, because it can be very confusing. And I feel like caucuses are kind of archaic. I think they're fun and they're cool to watch. But I feel like if you don't say the exact rules, people will leave, there'll be confusion. And so generally, I think we're still going to see a lot of confusion, not only in Nevada, but also in California, which is my main focus right now. There are a lot of issues and inconsistencies with what the Secretary of State is reporting versus what the poll workers are being told versus what is being reported in the media. So,
absolutely, really great stuff. Tell people where they can find you, how your social.
So I am Fiorella_I am on Twitter. You can find me at the Convo Couch YouTube, also the Convo Couch Twitter. And yeah, we'll be here also with these guys covering the caucuses and the rest of the election. So thank you very much.
So great to meet you. Thanks for coming on. Mostly because you get really cool stuff and you fund us in the field. You fund real reporting. CNN isn't here. I'll say it again. MSNBC isn't here. Chuck Todd is not here. Chuck Todd, God knows what fancy hotel he's in right now after his time up on the debate stage. So please fund real reporting. We are here reporting the truth for you. You've heard from other independent media tonight. These are the real people on the ground. You've heard from volunteers. You've heard from people who are working their tails off to fight for the policies and the candidate that they believe in. That is so inspiring. We want to be on the ground in South Carolina. We want to be on the ground in California. We want to send Jordan there. Jordan's sick right now. That's why I'm here in Nevada. Jamal and I are hitting the ground running. We are all over the place already. As soon as we landed, we started reporting. We are going to keep going. We are going to cover absolutely everything that happens here through Caucus Day. Whatever happens, we will be there. Please support this reporting. statuscoup.com/join. If you're already a member or want to give another form of support, you can go to paypal.me/statuscoup. You can also donate via our GoFundMe, or if you want to talk about other ways of support, you can email us at info@statuscoup.com. Please also remember to text COUP to 474747 so you can get notified the next time we are live. Okay, we've talked to some really great people tonight. Jamal, do you want to say a few words? All right, here comes Jamal before we wrap up here.
Hey viewers, hey Status Coup. Just want to say that we're out here in Las Vegas having a very great time, bring the news to you, but it's time to clock out. What stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All right.
All right, guys, we had such a great time tonight. We are tired. I think it's almost 1 o'clock Eastern time, which is where we live normally. So we are going to wrap up here. We're going to go to sleep, but we are not going to be sleeping for long. I'm going to wake up. I've got some sources to call. I've met a lot of sources here. Some people who are sending me some information that we all need to know. One more time, statuscoup.com/join. I love you all. Peace out.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.